In this video, I'll show you how to make cool electronic billboards in your sci-fi terrain. Super easy and only 18 bucks. I love making terrain. I love scratch building it, 3D printing it, or even just buying pre-made terrain kits, plastic, MDF, whatever, because I love good-looking terrain on my battlefields. But lately, I've been getting more and more into sci-fi terrain. I mainly blame the amazing visuals of Cyberpunk 2077 and like the hours that I've spent just driving around and sightseeing in that video game. And I wanted to make more terrain that would work in everything from like cyberpunk style games up to like hard sci-fi. And I wanted electronic signs too. Years ago, I wanted to get like an actual full color LCD screen, right? Like probably around like a 5-inch or maybe 6-inch screen or so, and hook it to a tiny computer called a Raspberry Pi Zero. It's about the size of a stick of gum, and then put the whole thing into a piece of terrain. I'd then have like something like a full video billboard, definitely some cyberpunk or Blade Runner-y looking stuff, right? And then I could load videos on it to play, or I mean, heck, the Raspberry Pi's got Wi-Fi. I could run YouTube videos and such on the screen while my opponent and I are playing, you know, as long as I can get my piece of terrain online. I bought all the parts with the help of my good friend Dave. It wasn't particularly cheap, actually. And being so bespoke, that's kind of what makes it bestalled as well right now. I'll finish it eventually, right? Like maybe even this summer if I can find the right chords. I just need like the perfect 90-degree micro HDMI cable that then goes to regular micro HDMI, but not 90-degree, right? And then that should be good. But I had a thought while I was kind of looking at parts and doing all that kind of stuff. What if I could find something that was far more modular for this solution, right? Like something that I could pop in and out of different pieces of terrain if I wanted to. Something cheaper than the full color LCD video screen, I suppose, right? But still something dynamic and sci-fi looking to sort of bring that extra zing to the tabletop. I've always been a gadget nerd. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, then you probably know this, right? And I remembered seeing these old, goofy little LED name tags that you could charge up and then clip to your clothes. They'd light up and kind of animate, and you could program them with this like super confusing button system on the back to make them say like whatever you wanted, your name or whatever, right? I wondered if something like those things might work in this situation, and maybe if the way to program them was any easier these days than having to push the little buttons and do all that kind of stuff and go through every letter in the alphabet. As it turns out, the answer to both questions was yes. I searched around and I found these LED name tags on Amazon, which are made, of course, you know, everyone is familiar with X-Shift Begif or whatever. I mean, it's obvious. I don't have to tell you. Anyway, these are like 18 bucks and they come in red, blue, green, and allegedly white, but though I've never found the white ones in stock on Amazon, so I don't know. They're pretty small. They are 3 5/8 inches across and 1 1/8 inches high by about only 1/4 of an inch thick. You charge them via a little tiny micro USB, and they're nice and bright. Can I turn it on? There we go. So, you know, they have Bluetooth as well, which is also really cool. So you download an app and then you program them that way, which is a lot easier than the old way. The thing that's great about them is that they're very, very flat. Not really any kind of like bumpy protrusions or sticky outy parts, right? Like they have a pin thing on the back, right? So you can fasten them to your shirt or whatever, but it's completely flush, so it doesn't stick out at all. I kind of expected that I'd either have to like modify them in some way to use them for what I was planning, you know, probably cut some parts off the back of the badge and sand it down and hope that that works. But these badges are basically perfectly smooth rectangles. One little correction, this is editing Adam here. There is a little metal plate stuck to the back of these name tags for the magnets to stick to. So you'll either need to pop that off. It's on there with glue, but not like a great, amazing glue. You'll either need to pop that off or leave it on, but then anything you build for it to slide into is going to need to have like an extra channel in there. Or you could pop it off and then glue it back on later. Depends on what you want to use it for. I kind of wondered if I could like build something on my terrain to slide them into and then also be able to like slide them out again. As it turned out, it was totally easy, barely an inconvenience. I scratch built a simple frame for it by using like plastic card bits and old gift cards that I'd saved. Remember, folks, if someone gives you a gift card for like a Christmas or your birthday or whatever, they're giving you some credit to buy something that you want, and they're also giving you a small hunk of free plastic card for modeling, right? So save that stuff. I built a kind of post-apocalyptic sign frame with lots of uneven chunks and turned it into a freestanding sign with a base and all that kind of stuff. Then I could put it anywhere on the ground or maybe on the top of a building or, whatever. Then I decided to make another frame for the LED badges, and this one I wanted to mount like permanently to a building. Well, structure might be a better term. Like it doesn't exactly look like a building, it sort of does, right? I made this weird sci-fi bunker terrain out of a random plastic like drop outlet gutter part from the hardware store. I bought it at the same time as the other rain gutter part that I turned into a different piece of sci-fi terrain. Pachow. And now I had a good reason to finally use this part as well. Again, I built the frame out of plastic card and a gift card and whatever I had lying around. Measure twice and cut once. And it worked out great. The big benefit to these frames I was building was that they were very easy to slide the name tags in and out of. Therefore, I could pop a name tag out of like one piece of terrain and then slide it into a different one if I decided that one piece of terrain was better for this particular table setup than the other. However, the frames were a bit fiddly to cut out and glue together, by hand and all that kind of stuff. Not hard, just fiddly. But they gave me tons of options for customization so I could do like whatever I wanted. But eventually, I had to try to improve even more. At this point, I pulled out ye olde Tinkercad, which is a very simple and free 3D modeling application. It runs in a browser, and so I was able to use it on whatever computer I had access to. I replicated the size and the shape of the name tag itself, like made like a little 3D blank of it in the software, and then I started building frames for it kind of around that blank so I could print them out on my Bamboo Lab A1 filament printer. I designed a pretty simple back piece and a simple front frame as well. After I'd print them out, then, I'd still have to glue them together, but that's actually a lot quicker and easier than building the entire thing out of plastic bits and old gift cards. After designing a simple blank frame, I decided to make a copy of it and then beat it up a little bit in the software, some dents and bullet holes and stuff like that, and then printed it out and then glued it together. And it worked great. I glued it to a 3D printed sci-fi building, and I think it kind of looked amazing. However, I did make two rookie mistakes, though. Number one, I didn't print out any cool like struts or supports to put behind it on the building. It's just sort of attached with glue or whatever, but that's okay. I'll design some cool struts or whatever soon so that the frame looks a little more kind of realistic and in the world, as it were. The other mistake was that I didn't put painter's tape on the inside of the frame before priming it and then like painting it. So after a few coats of filler primer to help smooth out the layer lines on the 3D printed like terrain piece and then painting all of it, the frame is now very snug when you try to slide that little name tag in there. I had made the tolerances very tight, and with the primer and then the paint, now added to that, they are now very, very tight. I was finally able to force a red LED name tag into that frame, but I don't know that I'll ever be able to get it back out again easily without maybe breaking the frame. If I do, then I'm going to have to kind of sand the filler primer off of the inside of the frame. So watch for that, and or just use painter's tape. And potentially, you don't even have to use a frame if you don't want. Like the name tags themselves come with magnets so that you can just stick them to your shirt without having to use the pins and maybe poke a hole in your shirt or whatever. Like, the magnets are in the little plate, not in the name tag. So the name tags won't just stick to like ferrous metal wherever you might put it. But if your plastic or 3D printed or scratch built terrain is thin enough, then either the included magnets or perhaps maybe some of those neodymium or whatever magnets would be able to hold the name tag directly to the surface of your terrain. And the name tag itself is mostly just all black and, pretty plain, so it would kind of work standalone. Overall, these things are really great for cyberpunk, post-apocalyptic, and just plain old sci-fi terrain. They add a really cool look to all kinds of buildings, and they're like way easier than the LCD video screen with the Raspberry Pi computer and all of that kind of stuff. They're not as fancy, of course, right? Like you can't play YouTube videos on them, but for only $18 and they charge via USB and you can put all kinds of messages and stuff on them via Bluetooth and an app, I don't think that they can be beat. I have an Amazon link to where I got mine down below in the video description. Also, I decided to share my STL files for free so you could use them yourself and design all kinds of neat things with the size blank that I made for the name tag. I'm also including the frame that I built and some other things in there as well. So if you don't want to design stuff, you could just print those things off, glue them together, and you'd be good to go. You can also, build your own stuff as well. Like I said, Tinkercad is actually free and pretty great. I've uploaded the STL to my website, so again, check the link down in the description for that as well. While you're down there, check out the rest of my website as well, especially the merch store if you're kind of feeling fancy. I'm already looking for other stuff like this that I can use in future terrain projects. If I find something cool, I'll let you know about it here on the channel. Also, I'm going to be at Gen Con in Indianapolis, Indiana next week, and I'm planning to have a meetup, right? Like while I'm there. People who, from watch the channel, if you want to come and say hi, I'm trying to figure out a time to do that. Probably Saturday afternoon or so. So if you're going to be at the convention at Gen Con, probably on Saturday afternoon or whatever, and you want to attend some sort of kind of meetup, get-together someplace, then follow me on Blue Sky, Facebook, or Instagram, whatever is your liking. I'll be posting about the potential meetup in those 3 spots once I have the time and the location figured out. I hope to see you there. What do you think of these simple little LED display pieces? Do they make sci-fi terrain look even cooler, or are they not for you? Do you have a different little gadget like this that you've used for something, like this in your terrain in the past? And are you looking forward to trying out these little electronic signs in your future terrain? Let us all know down in the comments below. And if you'd engage in some depressmentation of the like button, like the sign says, I'd appreciate it. And if you want to see more content like this every single Friday, subscribe as well. It's free. Thanks for watching.